play game. Was that a little bit too on the nose? I couldn't tell.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome
Hello.
to Movie Mutations.
I don't know if you noticed who that guy was. I don't know. Who's that guy?
That is
Hi.
Dr. Perkins. I don't know if Dr. Perkins has a first name.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Emmett.
Yeah.
Named after his namesake, one Emmett Brown,
Yes.
from Back to the Future. For those of you who don't understand the reference.
And Perkins is his favorite actor. Is dude? What the hell? What am I?
Anthony
forgetting?
Perkins.
Anthony
from-
Perkins. Jesus.
Most
Christ.
notoriously known from being Norman Bates from Psycho and the Psycho sequels, which no one
Yeah.
seemed to talk about.
I-
But
some
Professor
people-
Perkins will.
Yeah, he'll. That's his favorite. That's his favorite man. But all right. So we're here. Like I said, as you saw at the top, we're here to talk about Movie Mutations. This is a project that I've been working on behind the scenes for a good while now, probably about a year technically since the birth of the idea, and then a little bit of a break for a while there. But now over the last 5 months or so, been kind of really working hard on it, trying to get the game together. Been doing some practices, been getting this built up, and now I think we feel comfortable here to come and kind of talk to you a little bit more intimately about what this is.
Right. It's been a passion project for Steven for about a year from now. And of course, I've been helping him along with it, bouncing ideas off of and collaborating and such. And Movie Mutations is, it's going to be a bit of a movie-centric game show,
Yes.
or even kind of more of an episodic game show, if you will.
It's a lot of different things. That's
Right.
what's I think so fun about the idea is it's a collaborative of different types of things. It's one part trivia game, one part like creative pitching, and then there's also this fun kind of, as you can see with the theatrics from the teaser trailer, there's a little bit of late night movie TV host, that kind of there's a little bit of a character story kind of infused in this. There's a little bit of something infused in it to give it a little bit more of give the show a little bit more identity than just being a trivia game, but also being a show. It's a show. So
Right, it's very much a show that's there's trivia in it, but it's mostly about being creative about pitching movie ideas. And if you're a big movie buff and you're a big movie fan, you may think about those things rather
yeah.
often. You know what I mean? Like, even while you're watching a movie, sometimes I find myself saying, "Hey, how would this look if it was handled differently?" You know what I mean? Like,
what if
they
what
would
if
go the
director?
opposite way?
I mean, just think about it. Whenever we're leading up to a movie getting talked about being made, and James Bond, for instance, we forever we're talking about James Bond. Who's going to be the next James Bond? Who's going to direct the next James Bond? Well, this game kind of taps into that kind of like that feeling of like almost playing Mad Libs with your favorite movies. Switching out actors, switching out directors, switching out genres. And that's kind of what we did. We came up with a game that tapped into that, but also it has trivia in it to also kind of gain you advantages in the game and kind of keeping the game all around this, whatever the movie is that we're mutating. We got some people in the chat saying, you got Jeff K over here saying evening, got Acres of Movies, terrific, a new movie game. Yay. Yes. I'm excited. I'm really excited about this. This is something that I just love the idea. And yes.
Yeah, this will be in the way the game is structured. There will be rounds to it.
Yeah.
It will be, like we said, part trivia, part pitching. We're kind of breaking down the different elements of a movie, from genre to directing to casting. Will be the principal kind of pitching ideas.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like the basic building blocks of how you pitch a movie to like a studio exec, I assume.
In a way. I mean, we're gonna get in depth with the gameplay for sure here a little bit here in a second, but yeah, so like, I guess if you want a little bit of a history on it, like, so it's been about close to maybe a year since I was on Chasing Labels. It's getting close.
Pretty that's about right.
Yeah. And so right around that time, I decided to step down from being a co-host on that show, and of course Andrew Cabral has continued to keep that going for you guys, and he's been doing a great job. He was the heart of that show anyway. I mean, this guy did a 4.5 hour podcast for you last night to talk about every movie that got released.
The irony is that it's not even every movie. Like if it was every single one, it would be 8 hours long.
Well, it would be longer because of how much you decide you want to talk about certain and that's I think that's the benefit. Like you're giving something there, and that's and I make fun of him for how long he makes his podcast, but ultimately he's doing a service, and you can't fault it for that because in a lot of time.
Yeah, and then the one positive thing about doing your own show, whether it's podcast, YouTube, TikToks, Instagram, or whatever, you can kind of make up your own rules. And you don't have to stick to them. You can, in terms of like how long you want to do it, what you want to talk about, where you want to go, all that kind of stuff. And to be honest, when it comes to Chasing Labels, it's very much the opposite of what Steven has done with Movie Mutations. Steven is incredibly prepares very much a lot to a T, detailed oriented, as opposed to Chasing Labels, which is more not a lot of preparation in terms of what we do in the moment. You know what I mean?
I mean, it is for sure prep. I mean, and this is definitely that Movie Mutations is going to be, it's going to be a pre-recorded show. It's not going to be live like this. So there is definitely going to be some predetermined things. It's like I said, it's going to be like a TV show. So, but yeah, ultimately, I left. I decided to step down because for me, doing Chasing Labels became more of a labor than it was a love. And I just, at the time when it came to my personal life, it just couldn't be the priority anymore. And I wanted to make sure if I was doing something, I was able to give myself to it. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to give myself to Chasing Labels like it was necessary to do it. Because as Andrew shows by doing the show the way he does it, he puts in a lot of time and effort into like watching a lot of these films and I think that that's important. I think that that's what makes Chasing Labels a good version of that show going over Blu-ray releases, because he can actually give you some insight. But so that's why I kind of felt like I needed to step away. And of course, there's also a part of me that a lot of times when I do a project and I do it for a while, I'm ready to let it go and move on to something else too. There's a little of that in there too. We'd been doing it for 3+ years, and I was like, I think I want to step into something that's a little bit more creative. Like the show is the show. We have the format for Chasing Labels. It is what it is, and there is not a lot of room. So I decided to step away and then kind of took a break for a minute. And then this idea for Movie Mutations came to me. I saw that, there's a lot of people play games online. You in the YouTube space, there's I think a lot of trivia. The Schmodown used to be a big thing. And then I think because of the pandemic, it basically got killed because they were trying to take that thing to a certain level. And then the pandemic shut everything down, and it kind of killed that show in a way. But I think there's a lot of independent leagues still going on around out there that do trivia. And, I'm not really a super trivia guy. I'm not, especially like playing trivia. Like I'm not super detailed, but I do enjoy watching it. I do enjoy kind of being a spectator of it. So, but at first I didn't want the game to be that. I wanted it to be something about tapping into the creativeness of film. Because I think one thing that has happened for a lot of film goers, casual film goers, is that we forget that a lot of people do a lot of creative things behind the scenes to make these films. It's almost like people look at movies sometimes as and we do say this about especially studio pictures, that they're just coming off an assembly line. They're just like almost just factory made and they're all the same. But really, there are a lot of creative people that are behind making movies. And in this game, it almost makes you become one of them. It makes you become somebody that has to be creative. But in this case, the game kind of puts you in kind of awkward situations. It can put you in situations where you have to pitch for things that you wouldn't necessarily have pitched for. And it makes you have to be creative in the moment. So I think that that's just a fun exercise that I don't think a lot of people, I think people do when, like you said, when you're having conversations with your friends. But in this, we've structured it into a game. And Andrew has played and judged in a handful of these. Tell people how you feel playing.
So playing it is it's both challenging and nerve-wracking, but can be fun as well. But it does take a certain type of person to be spontaneous in the moment when it comes to creativity. You know what I mean? Just popping out ideas off the top of your head, essentially. I mean, there is a preparation aspect to it, but sometimes you can find yourself during certain points of the game having to make things up. You know what I mean? On the spot. For example, the other night we did a practice game. One of our contestants had to essentially pitch a Back to the Future serial killer movie directed by Billy Wilder. You know what I mean? And to pitch to say how that was going to work, or to say how Billy Wilder would be a good director for a Back to the Future serial killer movie is not something you can put together on the spot very easily.
Yes.
You've got to know certain aspects of movie. You got to have a kind of a wealth of movie knowledge. You got to know, a wide variety of things in order to kind of put things together, or else you're going to be a little lost. So we're still working out the kinks in terms of minute structures of the game, but it's at a format right now that I think is workable for contestants.
Yeah, I think right now, we're learning things as we do some practice games that think little fine-tuning things that can make the experience better, better for the game and better for the players. But it's just little things about how many questions of trivia, how many, how we gauge that stuff. But otherwise, the structure is there. We're going to get into how the game is together here in a second. But let me go through a few comments here. Of course, let me put this up here. Chasing Labels is awesome. Andrew is the best.
Thank you. Yeah, Acres the Movie is a big supporter of Chasing Labels.
Yes.
They were with me throughout the night last night for the 4-hour run. So
wow,
it's a long watch.
Let's see. He also says, excited to hear about this movie game. Does it require a board? No, not. Funny enough, you say that though. It doesn't require a board. This is all a visual thing, but I have thought about that once this is established that it could be a game board game. You could kind of make it into one. There might be a few elements that you would have to kind of change to make it a board game, but I think we could do that maybe one day if it's popular enough. He also asks, what if James Stewart was in the Ghostbusters? Well, I mean, that'd be kind of cool. I mean,
that'd be a heck of a casting choice.
That would be.
You just have to pick which Ghostbuster would he be. You know what I mean? That's how that would fit into Movie Mutations, as you could have Jimmy Stewart as, Peter Venkman.
Venkman, yeah.
Or you could have him as Egon.
I think Egon's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that structure in here. He also says, what if Hitchcock directed There Will Be Blood? That's something else that could come up. It's very possible. But it's one of them, as we explain this, what if There Will Be Blood was a musical? Well, very, very that could be a question that comes up. But we're gonna like doing improv. Yes, there is an improvisationalness to this. Some of it is got some predeterminedness to it that makes it easier for the contestants, but sometimes you get put in a situation where you have to improv basically. And let's see, you two have played Movie Mutations thus far. We have played it a couple times, and we've played it with a few other people. There's other people behind the scenes helping us. Josephine says hello. All right. So getting into structure, getting into gameplay. So as Andrew, we'll just use the example from the other night. As Andrew said, we just recently played a game of Back to the Future. We won't talk about the players. We like to keep that secret for now. But so the game starts out where you focus in on one movie. In this case, we're gonna take Back to the Future, and the game starts where you got, as you said earlier, we got 3 different rounds, and each round kind of covers a different sector of the filmmaking experience. Whether it starts out round 1 with genre, round 2 with directing, and round 3 with the cast. So when we start in the genre round, the contestants are presented with 5 genres that are unlike the movie that they're talking about. In this case, like science fiction adventure movie is not going to be one of these choices. So they're presented with 5 genres or subgenres. 3 of them are revealed to them, and they're actually going to know these subgenres or genres before the show. Like these are ones that they know at least a day in advance. So they get a little bit of prep time. And in this case, I think I actually got the notes right here.
Oh, good.
I'm glad I
was
had
going to
this.
ask if you had the specifics.
I do have them right here. So in this case, the players had serial killer film, sports film, and animal attack film as their revealed selections to pick from. And then there was 2 mystery selections that they didn't know what they were. All right. So then after that, the 2 players had to go through a round of trivia where there's points, and whoever gets the most points by the end of that round of trivia gets the opportunity to pick from the 3 that I just told you about. All right. So then our one of our players that won chose serial killer film. All right. So he's going to pitch Back to the Future as a serial killer film. And our other contestant who lost in the trivia had to choose one of the mystery selections. And so he ended up picking one, and he ended up having, and the other 2 were zombie film and political thriller film. So he ended up having political thriller film as the thing he had to pitch for. And so they both do a pitch for Back to the Future as them 2 genres. And then there's me and 2 other judges. Andrew was one of the other judges, and then a friend of ours, Dan, was the 3rd judge. And so now we judge their pitches, and whoever gets at least 2 out of the 3 correct gets the majority from us, wins that pitch. And so then moving forward, going into round 2, now Back to the Future, in this case, is now a serial killer film. So whoever the guy that had the serial killer film as the pitch, he won. So now Back to the Future's this serial killer film that he described. So then we go into round 2, and we go into the director round, and they're presented with 5 directors, or 3 directors they're presented with. And let me get that. They got John Woo, Wes Anderson, and David Lynch as the selections. And very similarly, there's 2 mystery that they don't know about. And like the first round, they go through a round of trivia. This round of trivia is a little bit more intricate. It's got like different types of trivia in it. And then, so they go through that, and then whoever is leading in points through that round, once again, gets the opportunity to choose one of the directors. And so the same guy that won the first round also won the second round in trivia. And he chose to pitch David Lynch as a as the director of the serial killer Back to the Future movie. And our other competitor ended up getting, as Andrew said, stuck with Billy Wilder, which is very difficult, kind of a difficult thing. So they both went at it once again with their pitches, and David Lynch won. So the guy that pitched with David Lynch won. And so far, the same competitor has convinced the judges of both of his ideas. And that's the key of this game. The trivia is part of the game, but it's not how you win the game. It's only to help you gain an advantage. the pitches are where you win, and whoever wins more pitches than the other is the one that wins the game. So then we go into the third round where we got the cast. And once again, there's a round of trivia, but the reward for winning in points in trivia here is not the same, because the game's not predetermining any actors or anything like we predetermine the genres and the directors. In this round, they get to actually pick whatever actor they want, living or dead, for the predetermined characters. But the reward they get for winning trivia is that they get to make their opponent pitch for an actor that they get to choose. So you can get stuck with somebody. In this case, one of our contestants got stuck with an Australian actor named Yahoo Serious to pitch for him as Doc Brown, which was way out of left field. But so they'll both go. In this case, we had 4 characters, Marty McFly, Doc Brown, Lorraine, and the mystery character that they didn't know what it was until we got to it, which is Goldie Wilson. And so each of them would go back and forth pitching for each character, and the judges once again say which pitch wins, and whoever gets to whoever pitches and wins. In this case, you have a limit of 1, 2, so 6. So you got 6. If you get to whoever gets to 4 pitches and wins first, bless you.
Thank you.
Wins the game. Now, fortunately, bless you once again.
Thank you.
Fortunately, the pitches were, it started out one competitor was a little bit, he was winning, but then in the character round, the other competitor started to catch up. So we were able to play the game out further past that. So, but that's ultimately the game. At the very end, whichever player has won, now has to come up with a new title and tagline for the movie on the spot. And this kind of spontaneity and this kind of on the spot kind of thinking creates, it's first of all, it makes you not think too much. So whatever comes to your head first, which sometimes can be really fun or even ridiculous, can be worth, it's for fun. That's the idea. The idea isn't to make some great new movie idea. It's to make something that's mutated and weird and is chaos.
Yeah, sometimes the more unhinged and chaotic it is, that may be what wins over the judges.
Yeah.
And it won't be the same. I have to run this by Stephen right in the moment now. I don't think it's going to be the same panel of judges every time, is it?
So me and you are mainstays because
okay. So there will be a third kind of wild card judge.
The third judge is there. The hope is to have a new third judge as a special guest judge. Sometimes they might be
the same
past. It might be past competitors that have won on other episodes, things like that.
So at least they will know. Yeah, in that case, they will know the game. You know what I mean? They'll understand how it works and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really, like, sometimes you can convince somebody of something you don't think was even going to be a good idea.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, those things are happening with the game, especially when you get to you can really convince somebody with casting.
Yeah.
And it's really going to come down to the way in which the judge kind of views what this type of movie is going to look like. Because by the time you get to the third round, you have to keep in mind that you are now pitching, like we did with Back to the Future. This is a David Lynch Back to the Future serial killer film.
Yes.
Who would fit best for a cast in that world?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who would fit best in a David Lynch movie? You know what I mean? And let's say it was some other director that had won the earlier second round. What would a John Woo movie cast look like in a serial killer Back to the Future?
Think about what John Woo's style is. What would that bring to Back to the Future, and what actor would lend himself to that style?
Sometimes those things do factor in. So, like you said, there's a lot of kind of in the moment type of stuff you've got to do. Like we said, improvisation. Because perhaps you get to the third round with the cast, and you may want to start changing things, because perhaps it does. Your pre-plan no longer fits.
Yeah.
So you've got to change on the fly.
Yeah.
That kind of happens in it as well.
And this is why if you read the description for this game, it's hard to describe this game in a log line, but it's like
you almost have to watch it to
Yeah.
kind of get the
Yeah.
flow of it.
But the best way I can, as I describe in the log line, is that film knowledge is the power is power, but creativity is the key. You really need your film knowledge to help you in this game, because it helps you inform us with it. Your film knowledge will help inform us and help inform your pitches. If you don't have the knowledge to know something about whoever you're talking about, you can't really like convince us of an actor or a director. And a genre, like you got to know genre, you got to know story, and what's the tropes of genres to be able to kind of pitch these ideas. So your knowledge is really important. Your film knowledge is really important in being able to tap into it at any moment. But being creative is really the key of this game. The more creative you can be, the more you can think outside the box. You don't have to be, like in our game last night, people had, when they got to the cast, they got to David, it was a David Lynch movie. They started looking at people that were in David Lynch movies. And I'm like, well, you don't have to do that. Like there's other actors that could fit in a David Lynch movie, but you can go that way as long as you can pitch it, and make it work, and not just following, hey, he's worked with David Lynch before. Like, cause that's not what we're looking for here. We're not looking for conventionality. We're looking for we're looking for weird. This is a mutation. So yeah, I mean, that's essentially the game. That's the breakdown of like the gameplay. And there's some intricacies in there, but ultimately that's the structure. It's one of them things where, it's difficult because, of course I got this all typed out and everything, and you share this with people and it seems like a lot. It's a lot to, like you said, it's one of them things you gotta kind of experience to really get it. But people that have played this game, once they've played it, they're like, I get it. Like, and it's not as it's intimidating, but it's not as intimidating as it is on the paper. So
yeah, it's kind of like if anybody is a regular player of board games, that first time you play a board game with you got all the rules, it's kind of hard to follow. I'll be honest. And that's kind of like the learning curve when it comes to this. But yeah, it's a lot simpler if you break it down and if you see it in action. Of course, I think I don't know, Steven, I don't know if you thought about this of putting the like layout structure in the description of the videos when we eventually record the videos, just so that viewers have a guideline as to what's going on.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Like in the,
or
if anything,
maybe like or maybe like just like a link to an attachment instead of literally putting it in the description. Maybe I can do something like that.
I was thinking you just literally copy and paste a document. I'm thinking
that might fill up the whole document.
And I also don't know how many words you can put in those YouTube descriptions.
YouTube is bigger than most, but it's still
isn't it only like, I know for the YouTube shorts, it's only 100 characters, which is less than a tweet. So I don't know what the actual YouTube video description is in terms of length of characters now. But I don't think it's like 1,000 or maybe longer.
Biff as the serial killer. Can I see that? Well, unfortunately, in this game, I'll give you a little bit of behind the scenes. Actually, in the description by the player that had the idea, Biff wasn't the serial killer. There's actually the twist. The twist was actually that George McFly was the serial killer. So technically, him and Lorraine, so Marty's parents are serial killers. He finds out when he goes back to the future that his parents are serial killers.
He goes back in time and basically probably discovers that they are like, they're
he thinks that they're just like in the movie, like they're just two sides.
Yeah, they're Bonnie and Clyde, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
They're Bonnie and Clyde, Mickey and Mallory from Natural Born Killers, or in like Gun Crazy, something like that. So that's a nice little twist that you could play with that genre. You could take elements from other movies,
and that's how I tell people
put it in.
That's how I tell people. That's one strategy that I think can work. Is like if you're playing the game, when you get stuck with a genre, especially because that genre round is kind of the most important round. When you get to that genre round, if you get stuck with a genre, you're not just think of another movie in that genre, and that can be your template, and just kind of use that movie as a way, pull from that movie as a template for this and put it to this movie that we're talking about. And that can help you. But some people are going to be better at that part of it than other people. And it's just, I think, a skill you have to work. It's like a muscle. It's a muscle you have to do a few times. And anybody that's going to play this game as an official game will definitely be going through some practice. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I want as many people to play this game as possible. This is, I want this to be known. Like, I want to make this game accessible for as many people as I can. But like I said, this is also like a TV show, and we want to give our audience the best versions of this game possible. So there is going to be, I guess, what you would call a screening process of sorts. Like, I'm going to play, we're going to, people that want to compete will go through practice game with some people that know how to play. And, they'll get at least 2 to 3 tries. And if it's working out, we get you an official game. But I think that's what we got to do to make sure that the official games are at their best. We want that to be at its best, because not only are the games part of this, but there's effort being put into preparing these games, and then the stuff around it, the stuff that me and Andrew are playing characters, which is another facet that we haven't talked too much about yet, which is that, you saw in the trailer, I'm a professor and Andrew's my assistant. His name's Gus.
Right.
And so we're both playing I'm the mad scientist type. He's more the straight shooter, the straight guy.
Yeah, I'm the straight man.
Yeah. And so there's going to be like intros to the game that we film pre-film.
Yeah, and they may factor into the movie that's being mutated in that specific episode.
It's
maybe not, depending on how elaborate it is.
Yeah, kind of like a Mystery Science Theater thing where you like have some funny, goofy stuff at the beginning, and then it introduces the movie, goes into the movie, and then you watch the movie. Of course, there's no commentary like that, but that kind of vibe. Goofy, funny stuff at the beginning, then intro the movie we're about to do a movie mutation for, and then there you go. Probably like 5 minutes at the most. Probably not even that. Just some fun stuff at the beginning. So. Adds an extra layer, I think, of fun for this game to have that kind of character iconography that attached to it. Okay, let's see here. JFK also said, sounds like a game that KB would be good at. I'm guessing, I think that's a channel, KB. I think it's what KB Loves Movies. I think that's his channel.
Okay.
I think that's who he's talking about. He says, okay, sounds great. Sounds good. I will email to be on the show. Like, I like to make movie topics and pitches. Well, we'll love to have you. Makers of movies. We'll see how you do. And then, can you say when the first game video will drop? So, right now, my hope is to have this out as a premiere for right around Halloween. So we still got some months. This is going to have, these shows are going to be pre-recorded and edited and stuff. Like, I got graphics and things. As you can see the backdrop here, this is the game board here, where the people fit in. If we were actually playing a game, we would look more like this. I would be in the middle, and then the 2 contestants would be on the sides, and then the judges would be backstage, and they would get flip-flopped into these bigger squares when the game starts. So, so there is going to be some editing, the questions and things, and certain graphics that have to be added in after the fact. So there'll be some editing time, but the hardest thing about this is the scheduling, because I have to have, me and Andrew, or Andrew's available, but I have 3 other people I have to get involved in this and get them on the same schedule to do an episode. So we're trying to at least get out ahead, get a few in before we premiere it, and hopefully we hit an October release date for the first one, and then after that it'll be hopefully a monthly thing to begin. And this will probably be season oriented, so I I would like to make this like a 10 episode season, but I'm going to be at the beginning here. It's going to just depend on the crop of players I get. I got to see how many people I can get on board and it works out with these people. And then we see how many games we can get played. And then we'll probably take a little break to prepare for the next season and then go at it again. But, yeah, that's essentially it. Anything else that I'm forgetting, Andrew, you think?
No, other than the fact that, it's at a stage now that, it just needs, like I said earlier, just needs a few tweaks here and there, practice runs to see how it flows. And of course, yeah, these will be pre-recorded, so they could be, we could edit them any which way we can for whatever reasons. And it's just easier that way because when you're doing things live like this, if you screw up, you can't really make up for it. You
Yeah,
can't really do that. And plus, we want the game to run smoothly.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? If there's technical issues, which those come up so
They can happen.
randomly,
Yeah.
they can happen. You want something like this specifically to run pretty smoothly because there is a structure to it.
Yeah.
Like I said, 3-round game show, trivia involved, graphics popping up, like a little intro skit with Steven and I, a little Bert and Ernie kind of situation here. And yeah, it's very interesting how this is gonna flow out. But we do have some time to work on all these things. As for doing an example of the game to show people what it would look like, I don't know if we're quite there yet.
Well, yeah, we can't show anything yet. We're not gonna. I mean, like at this point, the only thing I would be willing to give out to people is gameplay instructions. If you want to get involved in inquiring about playing the game, if you go in the description here on this video, you can find the email down there. It's moviemutations@gmail.com. And you can send me an email. I can send you gameplay instructions and, we can talk about setting up a practice game and see how it goes. I mean, I'm definitely looking for players from everywhere. And as long as,
especially if you want to make it, 10 episodes, you're going to need,
what,
20 contestants? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a lot of people. And then the judges.
Yeah. And then plus an extra judge.
It's going to be a certain combination of some of them people that have already competed and some people that might not have competed. So it's a lot of people to deal with and get them on a schedule. And, but I'm looking for the right kind of people and, we're going to try it. But that's part, this is a produced show. So, we gotta, I want it to be good and I want the audience to like the game. So we have to get people that are able to keep up with the game. So, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to get some emails. I would love to talk with people and chat with people and try to see if we can make something work with people. So, and if you have any friends out there that you think would want to be involved in this, please email me. But yeah, I think that breaks down everything that we needed to say about gameplay, about what to expect. Please share this around with people. This is looks like about a 40-minute video, so not that long. But yeah, I think just keep your eyes on the Instagram, and I have a Facebook page and this YouTube channel for updates. We'll keep every time there's something new, I'm probably always going to try to keep it up, whether it's practice games and things, just to post it. And yeah, what's our favorite Robert Altman film?
Well, yeah, Acres of Movies has asked me this before. I said The Player is my favorite.
That is a good one. Probably. Oh man, what's the one with?
I know what your least favorite is.
What's my least favorite? What's my least favorite?
Gosford Park.
Yeah, I don't like Gosford Park. What's the one? Was it Long Goodbye?
Long Goodbye?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one. I like that one. Elliot Gould. It's a good one. But all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna cut it there. Thanks everybody for hanging with us. Like I said, please share it around. Give me some emails. We'll try to make something happen. And yeah, with that said, I guess real quick here at the end. Hello. Welcome to Movie Mutations, and hello, Gus. Yeah. How you doing, Gus?
Hello, doctor. Doing good. Toiling away here in my lab.
That's good.
Getting ready for Movie
That's good.
Mutations.
Yes. So
taking all your notes down, following them to a T.
Okay, Gus, you're talking way too much.
Sorry.
This is my show, Gus. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and we'll see you. See you later.